Sticker shock at the pump? Many of us remember when fuel cost much less per gallon than it does today. Who doesn't have an uncle reminding us a gallon of gas cost a dime back in the day? Look at these numbers with me to see that we are better off today than we were back in 1980. You'll be surprised. Consider this. In 1980, the average price of gasoline was $1.40 per gallon. Who wouldn't like to pay that today? But wait, we have to adjust that to 2012 dollars. Here's a US inflation calculator. If we put 1980 in, bringing us to 2012 dollars, what does that $1.40 look like? Wow, it would be the same as $3.85. That's pretty close to today's cost. But I told you we are actually better off today, right? Let's add into the equation that our cars are dramatically more fuel efficient. Exhibit B, the average fuel efficiency of a US light-duty vehicle. Let's take a passenger car as an example. In 1980, 24.3 miles per gallon. 2012, 33.8 miles per gallon. What if we use the cost per mile as the primary metric instead of cost per gallon? Based on these numbers, in 1980, the average driver paid 6 cents per mile for gasoline. Today, at say $4 a gallon, we pay 12 cents per mile. However, we can't forget inflation. Let's go back to our inflation chart and type in 6 cents. Wow, 17 cents. Today we're paying 12. Let's take one more way to compare these numbers. How much of the average annual income did it cost someone to drive in 1980 versus today? Let's look at what people made back in 1980. If we go to the Social Security website, we see that in 1980 the average wage was $12,500. Comparatively, the most recent date they give us is $41,673. That's a pretty good improvement. Now, let's randomly pick 15,000 miles of annual driving. In 1980, that 15,000 miles took 617 gallons, purchased at $1.40 per gallon, cost that driver $864. When he was making $12,513, that is 6.9% of his annual wage. Today, that same 15,000 miles requires only 444 gallons due to our more efficient cars. At $4 a gallon, that cost him $1,708. That is only 4.1% of the annual 2010 wage. Less of our money goes into our car's gas tank today than it did in 1980. So my conclusion, getting around by car today actually costs less than it cost back in 1980 when you rightfully adjust for inflation and consider improvements in fuel efficiency. The price per gallon is what stares us all in the face on every street corner with a fuel station, beckoning us to remember when it was less than $2 a gallon or even a dime back in the day. But in actuality, we are better off today than we were 30 years ago. We have a lot to be thankful for.